to sort of use whatever it is that means that is available to them in the name of God, to do whatever they want to do. And whatever the pain was, whatever the idea was to be able to get information from the poor little woman, poor little girl, and the not in the means which is what acceptable, which is not acceptable necessarily to the parents. Maybe acceptable to him who is in charge, but not necessarily to the family, because everybody accepts discipline here and there. But in this sense, the discipline was extreme. It wasn't necessary. You can't get information for somebody through that means of killing or torturing or destroying that person's life. Why don't you let God himself torture? Why don't you let that? But they use the test in the book, which tells you that God will give you the strength to endure whatever pain that comes into your life, whatever test that God puts into you. So if this is the case, then it didn't happen there. And that's the show, that's just a film. But in a practical life, tell me if you have been able to overcome the pain, the suffering that you go through. Has your God delivered you? Maybe some occasions you find nature coming on your side and things go on well for you. But in general, most of the time, even if you are in your faith, if you are a Jehovah worshiper or Allah worshiper, have he come to save you? Or he has led you to your grave? Just like we've heard Bin Laden being killed, with all this man's effort and strong belief that he was working for God, he was hiding all the way through. And the day that they caught him his enemies stood there and were shooting him. There he was, Allah wasn't there to take him, to defend him. Now, what are the followers also believe? The followers also who are there, the news is sort of portraying them as if they've regretted, they are sad, they want to even pay back, or they want to sort of vendetta against those who did that. Why? In situations like this, even the Quran is completely ignored. That is where you see the true nature of people, human beings. When it is necessary for you to use it, they use it. We use the books. At some point where life becomes so much serious and real, they drop it. Because the book gives a lot of advice of what to do. It tells you there's no need for that vendetta, because the man was standing up for something. If he was a true Muslim, he's going to heaven. He's going to Allah. And the job that he stood for, God wanted to take his life. Maybe that's why he made it possible for them to kill him. Maybe if God didn't want him dead, he would not have died. If Allah didn't want him dead, maybe he would not have been found. Nobody would have found him and he would not have died. For some reason, he was found and he was shot. I'm not saying that is the case or that is how things should be. Don't get me wrong. Okay? What I'm saying here is that what the man stood for, his strong conviction of believing in Allah, the existence of a divine God, and those that he led to sort of follow and believe that what he was saying or what he was doing was right. That thing gives me that, the leverage or to say or to put such statements out to say, okay, if these are the things he stood for, everybody knows what he stood for. Not just him, me too, I know what I stand for. Now, if I declare God, Jehovah, or Allah too much, and I sort of stand in the firm that he's going to be there for me and he's going to defend me, whatever it is, if I say all these things, knowing very well that he's not going to be there for me, and somebody decides to put me to a test, either to put me through pain and whatever to see that Allah or my God will deliver me, that person is justified to do that. But since I don't declare God that way, then nobody has the right to sort of put me through that test in order to sort of disprove me. Because you don't need to disprove me. I'm already a disprover of my own self to you. Whatever I know is within me. Even though I claim the belief of God, I don't claim it as something that you should also believe in me, because what I'm saying is true. I am believing, but I'm seeking to establish what I have believed to be true or not. If you get what I'm trying to say. That the idea, the knowledge is there, knowing knowing, with the knowledge of understanding that there is a living God. It's not necessarily a belief state, knowing that there is a God. And so it requires for me to do the search. That's what the scientists do, a search to find out, to discover the things they discover. I need to materialize and search for the true God. Because whatever God that exists today, to me, I have doubts of it being, of it being the Almighty God or the true living God, Jehovah, Allah, whichever way it is, Because I believe that people should join side by side with me for us to seek for the true God, so that we will not be trapped as we've already been trapped, but we free ourselves from the current trap state that we are. There's all form of worship today. It's even believed that the Christian worship, there's so many rumor that goes on that it has been transformed from sun worship and whatever worship, and they've blended all those old, in the Alexandria time, the worships that they are worshiping, idols of the moon worship, the sun worship, the whatever worship, during the Cleopatra times and whatever times, they've blended it all and transformed it and changed it, and they put it into Christianity, and it's all being functioning again. If you go to Rome, you can find so many strange things. The symbols being used, people are discovering all these things. It's all being blended together. That is not what I'm trying to say. You don't pick those things to make God. I don't think so. The book is also encouraging that, but clearly, even with text and statements from this book, it tells you here in the Ten Commandments and in Deuteronomy that God strictly speaks of don't worship anything in this planet or in the heavens apart from Him, God, the true God. Don't worship anything. If you see the sun in the sky and you start worshiping the sun, it's an abomination to the true living God, because the true living God created all those things. That's the idea you have, or that's the idea we have if you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. So why do we go the opposite? Why do we still know this and we have still allow those who have invented? They have invented it and forced it through our truth and say that it is the true God, and we have believed it. The popes and the rest of the people, they know very well. They know what sort of religion that they have formed. They have studied it, the current even and the previous ones, or they are aware. Because when they go in and you learn, you are in there, you are reading, you are seeing so many things. They know, they study, they come across so many things that was developed as time goes on to build the institution. So they can tell that whatever it is they are into is not really the true thing. They can tell that it was a transformation of what? All kinds of things that is actually stand against what the text even says. So it's very confusing. You can't think, but trust me, it is also the laws there. It is also a prophecy there. So whatever religion we have today, Christian religion, Muslim religion, it's all been transformed because of the desperation of man to be able to establish an institution, because of God wasn't there when they sort of looked out for him. Now whether they were actually in a state where God, they could even reach out to God, nobody knows. But the fact that they cannot get him, like Naaman could not reach out to Jehovah, even though Naaman is coming from Abrahamic side. He then took some images and built those images in his house, and he was worshiping those images. Some of the images is what Jacob, the one of Jacob's wife, that is Rachel, took those images, and Leah also ran after Jacob to get his images back, and he sort of looked at his uncle, but I haven't taken anything, Jacob's having, but one of his wives took it and sat on it. And when his father came to look, he said, "No, I'm having a woman's stuff in a period. So if I'm having my period, I can't get up." And so his father couldn't search, but he was sitting on it. She was sitting on it. These are some of the things. A man's desperation to reach out to God, and if he can't get that, he just invents something. They were invented these things of what, and they'll base it on what was there already from those who were seriously have received, or somehow the story says there were those who accounted or saw great miracles, and miracles happened in their time, and there were documents about them. So then we can use that story and then blend it with what we have, and these things are bringing so much cares and problems into our life, oh, we are benefiting from it because we are blending it, we are making it look like this.